Hey everyone, how are you? My name is Albert DiLeo. I'm sure some of you see me as AJ in the comments. My section of our book, Communicating for Results by Cheryl Hamilton, is pages 181 through 185. The section is titled Other Obstacles to Clear Communication, or under Utilizing the 9 Rules for Clear Instructions. Now, the book does something fun with the 9 rules. The book tries to teach you the 9 rules, but through teaching you the 9 rules, it also tries to teach you another interesting skill. The book teaches you how to draw geometric shapes, but I can't draw. So I figured I would try something a little bit more up my alley, and I'm going to teach you the proper order for the solar system. This is something I'm actually doing with my daughter as well, so hopefully we can all have a little bit of fun with it. So let's begin right at the beginning. Rule number 1. Begin with an overall picture. This is something we all do all the time within our lives. I remember I used to play hockey for a few years, and we would always do practice drills, and I would never allow myself to be the first guy to go on a new drill the coach put out, because I would always end up doing something silly because the instructions just weren't good enough and I had no idea where I was going. But you bring it home even more. I mean, whenever you build anything in your house, you ever play with your kids? I'm the first guy. No, look, yellow, blue, green, then we slide. See, I mean, if you're just not going to do something, don't even bother doing it. Rule number 2. Keep words to a minimum. I'm sure some of you have heard the professor telling us this in a number of our assignments so far. Keep words to a minimum. Do not use 15 words when 3 will do. I apply this to myself in a personal rule that I use at work. I never send a customer email that is more than 3 sentences, no matter what we have to say. 3 sentences is all I can ever expect to be read or understood. Moving on to rule number 3. Don't use a big word when a singularly unloquacious and diminutive linguistic expression satisfactorily accomplishes contemporary necessities. I think this rule pretty much speaks for itself. But, I mean, if we have to do what the book says, don't use big words. Instead of using such large words, use simple, easy to understand words that everybody can get. Don't try to impress everybody with your vocabulary, especially not in business and especially not to customers. They're not going to be impressed. It's going to come off as rude and condescending. Rule number 4. Be specific. So, circling back with our solar system here, what are we doing? We're going to do the order. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. We're not talking about Pluto. But I included it in my slide here because I wanted to be very specific so we know the full outline here. I also included the asteroid belt because it's interesting to know if you're going to teach children this, you should at least teach them something a little bit further than they would just by going into the specifics of it. Rule number 5. Use simple comparisons. On my slides, I use basically the history of aerospace. And this entire period is about 60 years. So we started at what? Simple gliders. And then we had balloons. And then we had airships, like the Hindenburg. And then we had propeller airplanes. And then jet airplanes. And then rockets. And then finally we have the Apollo lunar lander. I mean, my goodness. And look at how complex that is. We all know but we all know exactly what it is because we've had it in small doses. But imagine explaining the Apollo lunar lander as it is to an average American from 1850. It's not going to work out. They're not going to have a clue what you're talking about. So this just goes back to how we instruct people. Keep it simple. Simple little steps are best. Rule number 6. Repetition is the key to getting your message across. Repetition is the key to getting your message across. Repetition is the key to getting your message across. If you want somebody to learn something, say it to them, and say it to them, and say it to them again. And when you're done saying it to them, say it to them again. Because repetition is the key to getting your message across. Rule number 7. Use simple number lists or acronyms. Acronyms work really well. So let's apply it to our solar system, right? Again, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. I mean, that can be kind of complex. I know my daughter has a lot of trouble with that. She's getting a lot better now, but when we first started. But she could always remember my very easy method just speeds up names, right? And it's essentially the same thing. We're just replacing the first letters. Acronyms can teach you great swaths of information using very little effort, just by tricking our brains. This is a great rule. Use good delivery techniques. Delivery techniques are all about your eye contact. They're all about your body. They're all about your kinesics. It's all about how you're conveying a different message. When people come into my store, well, okay, when I used to sell cell phones, when people come into my store, hey, how are you? I'm AJ. Oh my gosh, what do you have? What do you got right now? Oh, a Motorola Razr? Oh my gosh, those are amazing. Listen, what can I help you with? Is there anything I can get for you? Hey, I'm here for you because I care. These are just good delivery techniques. On my slides, I have 2 examples. Good and not so good. Same exact message. Number 9, end with a summary. Begin with the overall picture. Keep words to a minimum. Use simple words. Be specific. Use simple comparisons. Repetition is the key to getting your message across. Use numbered steps and acronyms. Use good delivery techniques and end with a summary. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day.